Okay, hello, uranium friends. So let's get right into it here. We have some requests for a bunch of names. We're going to start it off with UUUU. We are on the weekly chart at the moment. We are in log scale. So, yeah, a nice little run off of this low. It just becomes a matter of how you look at pivots and whatnot. But yeah, so could we have a confirmed weekly uptrend here? Yeah, if you're calling this a pivot, which you could. So let's just say that we're in a weekly uptrend, and now we're in a little bit of consolidation here. Now I drew these trend lines here more so for the purpose of just this video, but watching. But this is a legit trend line, right? It had a bunch of touches on the solid candle here, so we like it. This is also kind of legit here too. We've had some solid candle touches. More than three is usually the general rule of thumb. So it's a good spot here. Basically, all it's telling us right now is that we are tightening up. um, the way this particular pattern played out, if you're a triangle trader or a wedge trader like this, you could see some more action before this thing breaks. It could stay inside of this all the way until April, May, for all we know, right? So it's had a couple of tests outside of this trend line that have shown immediate rejection. So it's something to take note of. It's not the biggest deal in the world. It is what it is, right? So we are in this tightening range, as most names in the uranium sector are. We are in this tightening range. We are riding the weekly 12 EMA, which is the red line. I'm going to zoom in and make it bigger for you so you can see. And that's kind of where we stand now. If we pull some fibs on this weekly, just to see what's going on with the fibs. Okay, so um, yeah, so this fib pull is just from this recent run, right? From this low to this high. So now we're getting this consolidation, which at the moment is very healthy. It bounced off the 38% retracement, right where this 12 EMA is. The area of interest, obviously, for me, is going to be down here in this 640, 650 area. Okay, so we've got a lot going on down here. So, I hold cores in this, so I'm always going to be patient from here on in on any of my traders and whatnot. So, yeah, if I see a test in this 650 area, we have the 50% retracement, 660. This is going to be worth a stare for me, and I will use this low here, 636, as my area to be working off of, which is also the golden pocket. So, that's the setup there on the weekly. A quick look at the daily, and I'm going to kill these fibs because it gets noisy. Fib. Okay. Fibs are out. So, it's just tight. Everything is just tight. The entire space is tight. But, what can we glean from this? And this is why on Uranium Talk, we're starting to look at maybe some possibilities of a momentum shift to the downside, right? So, I talk about this 12 EMA all the time, right? And it's a pretty good gauge. So what you like to do is you like to find things that ride these EMAs and whichever time frame it is. So, it rode it all the way up. It used it as support. It's got some undercuts here, and now it's just starting to lose it. So this 12 EMA is being lost. That could be your first sign indicative of a little bit of a momentum shift. We've seen it before and it's kind of recovered, but not really because it didn't leg up again. So, what you really want to see is you want to see this consolidation, stay healthy, stay within this range here, and then leg up again. But what I'm seeing right now is that the 12 EMA is now becoming a point of resistance. So that's where we start to see these momentum shifts, and that's what UUU looks like at the moment with that. So, still perfectly healthy, and this is good weekly consolidation right here. Nothing to get too worried about at the moment. For me, is when this level down here starts to break. So, 650 area is going to be an area of interest for me. So I've got this marked at 681, and I've got my alert set. So that's where I'm going to be watching on UUUU. UEC, let's take a quick look at the monthly here. So UEC on the monthly, still fantastic, right? There's no real issues here now. So here's a different situation, right? So on this monthly, this thing you can't necessarily rely on the 12 EMA. There's just way too many fake outs here, and it's just for me it's not the best metric. So what's a better metric? Well, this 26 EMA, this blue line seems to be a pretty good spot. So and it got the bounce here, it got the bounce here, it got the bounce here, it got all these bounces here. So to me, these are good. This is probably the spot to be watching. I have this level marked, and this is what I'm looking at the moment. The 12 EMA is holding up as opposed to UUU, Energy Fuels. It's 12 EMA for UEC is working as support here, but this is it's right on the 200-day moving average, and if you look at Energy Fuels, well, it's well above. So you could say that UUU at the moment in this short period of time here, it's stronger than UEC if you're using the 200-day moving average as your metric. So UEC, it's just getting tighter and tighter. And look how tight this monthly EQ is. So yeah, there's going to be a break here. And even if we did something to the effect of what I did with that last, if you want to take a trend line maybe and just kind of run it like that. It's a tough one. I mean, maybe you could do something like that, right? So if you want to look at these triangles, just to visualize what a tightening range looks like, I mean, it's, thereabouts is what you got. So UEC on the monthly it's about to resolve. Which way it resolves, we don't know, right? I'm not even making that prediction, but something's going to happen soon. We'll keep these lines up for the sake of the weekly, and we could even try to, let's see if we can just see what it looks like here. So it's not going to be as clear because we don't have a lot to work with on the candles here. So if I did something to this effect, and this is just visual, guys, for purposes of the video, I don't get too crazy with doing stuff like this, but I do like to show you what these tighten ups do look like. So you might look at it as something of that effect, right? Now, this is a pretty severe undercut here. If you decide to take it there from there, then you still have to adjust this line this way, and it's not very valid. So I don't really necessarily like that as much. What I would say is that you got a pretty good resistance line here on this weekly, and it's just tightening up, and it's tightening up at the top of the range. So yeah, it's going to be looking. A lot of these names are doing the exact same thing. CCJ is a little bit of an anomaly. It's on its own on that one with the strength, but yeah, this is a pretty legitimate, downward moving trend line, and it's just constantly testing it and getting rejected. So we want to see it get through there, and it's getting tight. So there will be a resolution on a lot of these names sometime within the next week or two, I would guess. But that's the deal. So UEC is technically, well, it's just in a tightening range, right? So if you're looking at the daily here, this is all one move. So there's your low, there's your high, there's your higher low, there's your lower high, higher low, double top. So it's, we have a little bit of, it's a wait and see. It's really, that's all it is. So if you really want to be tightened up a little bit, we could take this level here. And 375 is it's a key level for UEC right now, because if it breaches 375, it confirms the daily downtrend off of this run since mid-December. So you've had this trending all the way up the whole time. If we remember, UEC and NXC, they were the strong ones. They kind of led the charge up through here, and now they were starting to kind of show the weakness before as the other plays lagged and followed up. So are these the litmus test again, or is the weakness here going to bleed into the rest of the space? Well, we'll see. 12 EMA is now rejection. It's been riding, and this is just another one of those that you can get these fake outs with these 12 EMA breakdowns. That's why, something like EMAs is, it's not always the be all end all. It's just like when you see a name that likes to use it, then you start to pay a little bit more attention. So, yeah, so 375 is a key level right now because then that would confirm our daily downtrend. So, eyes on UEC and 375. That's the spot. Denison monthly chart. Uh, yeah, I mean, you could say this trend line is legit. We have enough touches here. Uh, you know, I'm of the opinion that when I get down to a dollar, dollar ten, that's kind of the spots where I kind of buy this thing. Nothing to speak of volume wise. Let's get a better look at the weekly and see if we can have some more of an idea. Yeah, so the Denison action's always kind of weird to me. It's not my favorite stock at all. Uh, Fundamental guys might have a different view on that, but I just look at it from a trading and a chart perspective and a price action perspective. But it's it kind of confirmed this weekly uptrend because it did take out this high by a penny. Now, this is where interpretation comes in. To me, it's just a double top, and it's really just a range here. And you can't even say at the moment. I guess you could say here, just in this very most recent action, um, the range is tightening up. So, we saw the top of this lower range right here in the $1.29, $1.30 area, $1.25 area. So let's see if that holds up. Otherwise, you're probably looking back down here at the $1.10, $1.06 range, and you see how it plays. I'm working off of that premise right now, but what do we have now? We have the 12 EMA that's using it as a guide for support right now, and we're above the 200-day moving average, which is kind of lining up with this trend line. So let's see how that plays out as time goes on. Here's your daily, and we are in a confirmed daily downtrend because this made a new low. Again, it's by a penny. So, who says, wow. But, we're below the EMA stack now here. So, yeah, I mean, this is a daily downtrend, and we have to see where it resolves. So, the most important level at the moment for DNN is $1.22. That's going to be the spot that, you know, is that where it holds, or does it start making its leg down to this next value area down here? Okay. That's DNN. LEU. So LEU has been a bit of a juggernaut lately, right? It's been very good. Nice 12 EMA rider for the most part, all the way up. That's the daily. Let's just take a quick look at the monthly just to see. So, yeah, again, tightening range above the EMA stack, above the 200-day moving average. Not a bad look. Everything's fine here as far as the monthly chart is concerned, right? So it just had a great run for all this time. Nice pullback, as we've all suspected. A lot of us caught this beautiful run here. A lot of us got trapped here trying to catch the falling knife. But yeah, it's just LEU is another one consolidating up at its highs on the monthly chart. It's getting a little wicky up top here. And that makes some sense because it ran hot into earnings. So here's your weekly, and this is all you could probably call that a pivot. So, this is going to be an important level. Is this enough of a level? This is the first level I'd be keeping my eyes on, would be this one, right? So, again, well above the moving average stack, well above the 200-day moving average. Nice move up on the weekly with some increasing volume. A little bit wicky up here, a little rejection at this high here. Nothing unsurprising because we're coming into earnings. I think their earnings are actually tomorrow. Yeah, the 21st. Yeah, tomorrow. So this is typical. If I'm an LEU, I've been scalping LEU on the daily here. I took a couple trades here. There was no way I was sticking around into earnings, especially after this earnings reaction, right? So look what happened here. This huge gap down. This thing got killed, right? I was in it here and I got killed, and I managed my way. I traded my way through it a little bit to kind of get myself break even, but it was was nothing good about that situation at all. So certainly I wasn't going to get caught there. And anybody who was, caught in this earnings reaction here is probably thinking the same exact thing. That's why they probably pulled out, and that's why you had this big bar to the downside on good volume. But this is when we talk about volume climaxes. Here's a perfect example on LEU. This is a volume climax on that Thursday update, right? So just this big increasing volume bar up into this upper wick here, that's a volume climax. This move here doesn't surprise anybody or anything. So what do we have now? Well, technically, well, look, it's been a 12 EMA rider all this time. Where'd it come to? Came to the 12 EMA. So everything hinges upon earnings here, and that will be that. So, these key levels to be looking at is probably, 40.75 and then $39. I'll give you the exact number here. I just want to get this marked anyway on here. 39. It'll be 39. I'm going to put my alert here at 40.75 and see how it reacts there if it gets here. This thing could, they might have some good news. I know they had some news recently about their fuel process and whatnot. So maybe they're going to talk about that more in the earnings, and this thing could be off to the races. I don't know. Earnings events are binary for me, so I usually try to avoid them, except when I'm not paying attention to the chart and get killed here. So I was paying attention this time, thank God, and I took these scalps here and I got out. And I'm going to wait to see what happens on earnings. But that's LEU. The key level right now is 40.75. Otherwise, just the 12 EMA as your guide for support, where it's sitting on right now. Constellation Energy Group. So this is the life of this stock right here. And one would say, hey, let me just get rid of these numbers here. Yeah, so it's Constellation. So, you get a dividend. It's not the greatest dividend. It's a green focused utility. So you've got a monthly bull flag here, and if you take the fibs off of this entire run, 97.89. Okay, so if I take these fibs, let's see if I can get this closer. Somewhere around there, right? So, I mean, this thing hasn't even touched the 23% retracement, so it's a very healthy monthly chart. Take a look at the weekly here, see if we can get a little bit of a better picture. So, yeah, and the weekly is fine too. But we could sit here and we could say, it's lost. It's starting to use this 12 EMA on the weekly as resistance. So, those are your first little signs. You don't have earnings up until when? May. So, the earnings catalyst is nothing to really worry about at the moment. It's still technically in a weekly uptrend. It's just kind of lost that uptrend. So now it's really just sideways action, consolidating up at the highs. And we're just waiting to see what's going to happen with that. So, here it definitely lost its daily uptrend, and then it just regained it again, and then it just lost it again. So it's really just chopping about in this range between, for all intents and purposes, 80.50 and 87, let's say. All right, so 80.50 and 87. So you got about a $7 range here where it's chopping about. The dividend's nothing to write home about on, it's 28 cents on an $85 stock. Nothing special, but the chart, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. BWXT, another utility, nuclear supplier. I was always under the understanding that they did something with nuclear medicine as well. I might be wrong on that. But the monthly chart, yeah, I mean, it's the same type of deal. It's just, if you bought this thing from its inception, you're a pretty happy shareholder, right? just the quarterly chart is doing the same thing. It's just really just it's consolidating at its highs, and it's in a tightening range. So the quarterly chart is every bar is 3 months. So that just gives you another little bit of a look. Sometimes when I'm not familiar with a chart, and I don't often look at the charts, I like to get a good big picture view. So when something strikes you and you want to know about it, go all the way out. Do a 3 month chart. See how it plays out for you. So on a weekly, just want to see how these fibs are. Okay, so the weekly, there's my fib run off this bottom to this top here, and it's still a weekly bull flag. I mean, you could take it from here, but I think I've kept it here because when I was looking at this is ending up being a pretty important level for quite some time, right? So there's a lot of action right at this level where this golden pocket is. It's also the point of control here for the volume profile. So you can see this volume shelf here. So, you know, uh, BWXT would interest me. I'd be interested down here in this golden pocket area. And quite honestly, I'm going to drop an alert right there because I want to get a little bit of an early heads up. This is just telling me to start looking at it at the 50% retracement here. So that's the deal on the weekly. Weekly uptrend confirmed, still going. Monthly tightening range, I guess you could call. It's actually regained its monthly uptrend, right? Low, high, higher low, double top, higher low, higher high. So you're in a monthly uptrend. You're in a quarterly uptrend, right? Let's see. Are we in a quarterly uptrend? Low, high, higher low, lower high, higher low. Well, it's kind of in a quarterly EQ. Okay, let's just call that an equilibrium. But we just regained the monthly uptrend. We are in a weekly uptrend, and this nested time frame is a little bit different. It's kind of like an EQ, but it hasn't lost. This is a tough one to say. So you can call this a pivot here, right? So that would say that this is in a daily downtrend. But it's kind of breaking out of that daily downtrend and working its way out of that. So, those who if I was interested in playing the daily level here, the 5880 would be the spot that I work off of. If I want to be even tighter, I can go for this low here, which is 5938. So if I'm not going to make an entry on this thing, I'm going to make it against 5938, and I'm going to be looking to see if it gets over 6144. So, it's a little choppy in here, and it's kind of working on trying to regain its daily uptrend. So not horrible, not great. Still in a weekly uptrend, still in a monthly. You know, I guess it's just changed its monthly trend back to up. So you can take it as that is. So deep yellow on the monthly. Again, another one consolidating up near the highs. Um, Not much of a trader for me, quite honestly. I don't really play this name that much, but you know, 12 EMA acting as resistance, 200 DMA acting as resistance, sideways action here for months now. And it's just this range is really it's 55 cents to $1.22 is really the range. And if you want to start tightening up your range, if you're looking for entries here, conservatively, you're working against 65 cents. And if that breaks down, you're going to be looking down at 55 would be the next spots. But you're coming into earnings also. When's earnings here? March 10th, right? So just sideways action. Weekly is in a downtrend, right? High, low, lower high, lower low. It's kind of broke here. So it's in a downtrend and it's in an EQ within this downtrend. So, there's, in my opinion, just no reason for me to want to, take any entries here. I have a little bit of a core here. I would assume that, fundamentally we got to wait for something to happen with these guys because, there's not much going on with this stock, in my opinion. Appia, So I haven't looked at this one in a very, very long time. So, good to revisit these guys. So what do we do? What are we talking about here, right? Monthly downtrend seems to be finding some footing right here at this level, at this 20-cent level, right? A little bit of a breach of having a little bit of some buying support here on a slight uptick in volume. And this is a little bit of a downtrend. The volume is a little bit lower here on the sell-off. Not great, not horrible. It's a no touch for me personally. Weekly, tried to get out of this muck, and it's just been rejected. So all eyes on the 20 level is really what it's going to be for this one. And this is just, it's tough action. It's probably not share structure for me is just, it's not worth my time. So, um, yeah, so it's lost this base up here at 22. So now we're going to be looking at 20. So if anyone wants to be a falling knife trader, don't hold the bag if it goes below 20. That would be my call on it. Peninsula, if you haven't already, you can look at my URG financing video and my loose speculation that Peninsula could benefit in a very interesting way because maybe URG is looking to acquire properties in Wyoming and Peninsula is there. I don't know if there's anything legitimate about that. It's just pure speculation on my part. But, but I have a position in Peninsula. I have a small core position. I will be looking to double the size of that position. And I'm going to try to use these charts to help me do that. I would be interested, again, an area of interest for me. I like Fibonacci retracements. So if I can get this thing at 11 cents again, maybe I'll just add a little bit to my bag. And it's a little bit of a bag, but this is one of the speculations that we're making in the space. And this is one of my spots where I am speculating. So, um, yeah, I'm looking for a golden pocket hit, right? And maybe, I mean, this is going to be problematic if this level breaks down, in my opinion. So, if 9 cents breaks down again, it's just this thing is still a dog, and it's probably truly a problem with it that we just don't know about. I mean, this monthly chart, there's nothing that looks good about it, right? There is nothing that looks good about this monthly chart other than this little bit of a relief bounce that happened to have gotten over um, this area. But for Peninsula to be able to make a move to these highs up here, look how much wood that this thing has to chop. All these areas and these pivots of um, support and resistance areas that it's just going to be difficult for this thing to run straight up through unless something crazy happens, right? So we're on a weekly here, and it's also in a weekly downtrend, and it's just continuing. There's no signs that it's not. If this consolidation holds and it gets to make another leg up, well, then we're talking, right? Then we can start saying, all right, now we have a little bit more of a positive view. And by the way, there would be nothing wrong with waiting to see how this plays out. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Yeah, same deal. To me, when I see all these flat tops and flat bottoms, it's all algorithmic trading. There's nobody in this stock. There's not a lot of volume. It doesn't thrill me at all. So this daily is just in a base of support. I mean, can you say that we've had a daily trend change off of this? Yeah, because 12, and there's 13 was your high. You had a slightly higher high here, basically the same thing. So it's all this bottom here, but then you made this, right? And now, so your higher low really is 14.5, is 0.145. So if 0.145 breaks down, you're looking back down to 12 cents again. I mean, it's just that simple. So what we need to see to have a little bit more confidence is that this consolidation gets another leg up and takes out this high on 17. Otherwise, it's dead money. Base load monthly. Let's just see what's going on monthly. So base load, doesn't look as bad as some other ones. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's in a monthly downtrend. This EMAs are kind of, and the 200-day is just kind of holding it down for the moment. But all eyes on 38 cents, because that will be the spot, right? So if 38 cents breaks down, we're going to be looking down at 30, and then you're going to be looking down at 15, really, if you're looking at the monthly chart. So, once this 30 level breaks down, there's not a lot going on here, and it could be very problematic. Right now, we're kind of just holding out hope on this little volume shelf here, and it doesn't look fantastic. And then you have a lot to deal with to get through back up to new highs here. Weekly, same deal, right? Weekly downtrend. All eyes on 38. No support on the volume profile. This 30, 38 base of support breaks down. It's just no good. It's not. There's nothing good about it. So let's just see. Wow, does this give us anything? Yeah, I mean, look at this. So you're starting to look good. You had a nice gap up, and it was riding these EMAs, and it just got rejected and then completely back on down. So it's in a daily downtrend. It's in a weekly downtrend. It's in a monthly downtrend. Is it in a quarterly downtrend? No, but it lost its quarterly uptrend. So, nothing good about this, right? Nothing good at all about this chart. Look how far away it is from the 200-day moving average. There's no strength here. There's no reason to jump in on a falling knife trade. Sector-wise, this is how I look at it at this point for me. These smaller companies, people call them shitcos. These smaller companies, they're going to benefit from the U sector run when the sector starts running again. Is the sector running? No, it's not. The sector is just moving sideways, consolidating up at its highs for quite some time. That's what it's doing. If you look at UUU, that's what it's doing. UUU is just as good a representative as any other of the majors, consolidating at the highs. Nothing bad about it, right? It's just what it's doing now. So we need to see these leaders make these moves, okay? And once the leaders make the moves, these little guys will follow. Over and out.